Welcome to ACF Equity Research, improving capital markets for all.
Welcome to part 2 of our Morgan Lekstrom Silver HAMR executive interview. Today we are discussing the value generation of ESG, and we will tee this up with a little of Morgan's background to give context. If you like this, watch out for part 3 coming next week. Welcome back, Morgan.
Thanks for having me on.
Morgan, just picking up a little bit on your inspiration and vision for the sector, do you think that has anything to do with your engineering background?
My background's technical in nature, and it's given me a lot of insight into the industry. I've spent most of my time building mines around the world with large companies between Indonesia, Mongolia, West Africa, Peru, and definitely having that boots on the ground gives you a little more cultural insight into how the actual mining culture affects local communities, but also how it's viewed.
How actually is Silver HAMR addressing ESG?
We're a junior mining explorer, and one of the things when I joined the company we looked at was how do we drill different? How do we do it different? General drilling in the United States is you plow in a road, you bring a big, massive drill in, and you drill off of a huge pad. And we looked at it and went, well, hold on. We have some technology in Canada that we use for low impact drilling because we're very sensitive up here, especially in the Arctic. We worked with a local contractor that had an idea of what they were doing down there, and we started using it down in Idaho. And now we have a low impact drilling method. It requires nothing to be disturbed. It's almost no surface disturbance other than really the drill core, which is 2 to 4 inches. And that's it. So that's something we're looking at. We're not a major, we don't have a whole technology division, but I think there's ways to look at modern drilling methods, modern exploration methods using geophysics instead of trenching. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we as a company are doing in the background, working with local organizations like the U.S. Forest Service to understand their laws and say, maybe we can design technology to fit within that instead of fighting it.
Can you actually make a commitment then about your efforts for the future to investors today in relation to sustainability at Silver HAMR?
Yeah, I have no problem saying that's at the forefront of what we're doing. We're trying to do things, the thing about ESG is doing it right. Are we doing it right? Are we being socially responsible? Are we looking for diversity? I mean, we're proving that we're doing that with our low impact drilling methods.
Morgan, are you able to name those low impact drilling methods, the technologies specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it's a standard core drill. It's just how you use it and how you get access to it. Instead of putting in a road, maybe we make it modular and we fly it in, or we drive it in with a pickup truck and everything stands off the ground. So instead of just digging it, put it back in the ground and messing up a huge parcel, 100 foot by 100 foot or 30 foot by 30 foot, now we set it off on timber pads. So it's just a couple posts on the ground and your drill core or your drill bit going in. It's just different ways of thinking about how your environment is impacted.
We touched upon ESG, which then leads me to talk about transparency, as that obviously is very important to investors. Is the mining industry transparent enough for investors? And what does that look like?
I do think the mining industry, I mean, we're highly regulated. We are transparent. What I think the miscommunication with investors is the understanding. It's very technical industry, right? It's not like tech in the sense where you have an iPhone and you grab your phone and you're like, look at my phone, it does this, right? The mining industry is more complex than that, and we need to simplify, albeit a lot of the investors in it are looking for large payoff, stock appreciation, all that kind of stuff. I think it's transparent, and I think the regulators do a great job of keeping it transparent as humanly possible, but it comes down to fundamental understanding. Do people understand what you're talking about? You can be as transparent as you want, but if you don't get the message across to them, they're going to think you're not. It's great to put out a technical report and talk like a geologist or talk like an engineer and really just put it all out there. But if the audience you're giving that to doesn't quite get it, they're going to feel misled. And I think we do a great job of giving the information. We just sometimes need to do a better job of simplifying the information.
Just going down a little bit more on that track, Morgan, because I think there's a really interesting point. If you could improve one thing, what would you drive for with your compatriots?
I would say simplification. It really is about the message. It's about the messaging. It's about how people understand what we're doing. I'm 37 and I talk to my friends that are in their mid 40s and they still have no idea what I do. They're like, what do you do for a living? What is mining? Does that mean like we're just going to blow up a mountain? I'm like, okay, we have not done a great job of messaging what mining is. It's seen as a very aged industry. It's seen as an industry that our parents really run. They ran it, and now there's not a lot of folks going into it, which is actually a fundamental problem. But for me, it's just all about getting awareness out there. And that, to me, brings transparency right away. If you can explain it to someone simply, they can simply understand it.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for a very interesting podcast and providing your insight.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Visit us at acfequityresearch.com.